The Joe Rogan Podcast has thousands of episodes, and so naturally there have been many hilarious stories. So let's kick the video off with a legendary guest by the name of Theo when he had Joe Rogan crying laughing while talking about the time he played hide and seek on mushrooms.
So no, I took that bag of mushrooms to that party,
right?
And a bunch of people ate them who'd never had them before.
Uh-oh.
And then we played a game of hide and go seek, right? I was like,
oh no,
oh, dude.
You hide in another dimension.
I was like, I'll count. You guys go hide, right?
Oh no.
And I never went to fucking look for them. That was the end of that, bro. I never seen one dude, this boy Timothy, I never seen that dude again.
But it was fellow comedian Kevin Hart who had everyone in stitches when talking about the time he caught one of his friends doing something very suspicious in his house.
I moved to LA. I'm staying in a 2-bedroom apartment. You know, I come home. It's like afternoon. I was like, Patrice. I'm like, yo, you home? Patrice. I go in the back, open up the door. I had this big ass computer. All I see is his back hunched over. it's like baby oil right here. And I come in, I'm like, yo, what you doing? He's like, yo, get out. Are you jerking off in my house, man? He's so sick. He's so fucking sick. That he didn't stop. He said, get out. Get out. He was so concerned with finishing that he didn't even break stride. He didn't turn around, acknowledge me, nothing. Get out. You just saw his back hunched. He came out like 7 minutes later. It was like, my bad, I didn't know you was coming home. Didn't even acknowledge. Fucking Patrice, man. I love him to death.
But that story pales in comparison to what Theo Von said his survival strategy would be if he was in a plane crash.
I think about that kind of stuff, like if a plane crashed, I already know I'm planning ahead, dude. I'd eat a Vietnamese guy.
Why?
I did a fast for like 4 days, and then I was at the Best Buy, and I remember this Vietnamese guy was trying to help me out, and I couldn't even hear him. I was so hungry, and I couldn't. And I remember thinking, if everybody turned the other way for a second, I could eat this young fella, you know, Ben. His name was Ben, actually, over there in Westwood. I'd never thought.
Oh my God, it's so ridiculous.
I think if you gum down a Viet, people aren't going to be that upset at you.
Well, the Vietnamese people are going to be super upset. What are you talking about?
No,
somebody's
okay.
dad.
Yeah, they're more understanding of things, dude.
Is this a character you're playing?
No. But if you eat a black lady and her family's there, they're going to be pissed.
So you think a Vietnamese person will let you slide?
I think that they'd be much more forgiving over a couple of day period.
No, I don't think so. I definitely think they'd be super pissed at you, especially modernized ones. But what is interesting is like Vietnam is one of the few places where Americans can go back to Vietnam and they don't seem to hold any grudge at all.
Exhibit A. Exhibit A, man, honestly.
However, this moment is just a hypothetical scenario between friends. But the same can't be said about Brody Stevens when he talked to Joe Rogan about the time he got his big chance with a ladyboy in Thailand.
This is my big chance. Everyone says, Brody, you're gay. You know, it's 8 now. I'm in a room in Thailand.
Oh, my God. And you're like, I'll show you.
Or making fun of Brody. And you know what? I don't need to go into detail, but I pushed it to the limit. I went as far as I could go. No, I did not, never have, don't want to perform oral on a man. Can I go on record saying that?
I got you, but what happened?
Well, that didn't happen.
Okay. Okay. What didn't happen also is...
Kissing.
Kissing didn't happen.
I don't want to kiss a man.
Let's be clear. There was no kissing.
No kissing.
No race car driving. No meteorite impact. Many other things didn't take place.
You make it unromantic.
Staying on topic of unusual experiences, when Ron White made an appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast, he had a short yet hilarious story about his experience with pigs.
But before they did that, there were 4 pigs that lived in the house, and one of them was Whitney Cummings' pig. and they brought Whitney Cummings' pig out to me, and I held it, and it squealed like I was fucking it. But I totally wasn't. I totally wasn't. But
I definitely did not watch that man fuck
but
my wife.
pig, yeah, no, I already don't believe you. I already don't believe you.
It looks like Joe Rogan isn't the only one who likes to impersonate animals.
Silverback
What's wrong
bursting
with
through the
people?
trees.
But let's bring it back to Theo Vaughn, where he recalls the time he pulled off the perfect prank on his friends.
Dude, we used to get high when we were kids, and we'd go outside and get high, and then I'd come back in early into my buddy's house, and I would tell his dad, I would be like, "Oh, Mr. Mike, man," because his dad was like had a lot of like anti-gay energy, you know. But I'd come in after we'd been out there smoking weed. I'd come in and I'd be like, "Mr. Mike, man, they were being, I don't know, Richard was over, and people were just being kind of."
Touchy feely.
Yeah, it's just real strange out
You
there.
bait him? Did you bait him?
Yeah, bro. So then, dude, my friends Adam would come back inside, man, and his dad would be like, "What in the fuck have you boys been doing out there? You've been queering around." And
Queering as a verb is very funny.
"Oh, you've been queering around, boys." And he would just, just lighting into it, dude. And I would be dying with laughter. And they were so high, they didn't know how to explain that they hadn't been, queering.
They're so high and you set them
Oh.
up. Do you feel bad about that?
I feel great about it. That shit was some of the fun. I loved creating an ambiance in advance.
Theo just seems to have the perfect style of comedy for podcasts. And if you enjoy his out-of-pocket style, just wait until you hear the time he almost got kicked out of his apartment.
So I would get fucked up and put these vests on and put on sunglasses and no like Buffalo Bill shit, but at least partying by myself, you know? And I was making like a nice smoothie and I'm fucking coked up. I'm partying, you know, I'm living high on the hog. Got these 2 vests on maybe, right? And I thought I heard something outside, right? Which is kind of weird to even think of when you have a blender going, right? So I leave out of my apartment to go in the hallway, lock myself out with the blender going, 2:30 in the morning, coked up out of my brain, right? Now I have to go to my landlord, dude, who lives right down the hall, and tell him like, "Hey, man,
2:30 in the morning. I
I'm
got locked out. And the
locked
blender's
out,
on,
and the blender's
son.
going.
Oh my God, he must have hated you.
Oh, the blender shorts out and smoke happens. The fire alarm starts going off in the building right as I'm at his door knocking, right?
Oh my God.
So now he's pissed and he's like, "What's going on?" And I didn't know what to say. I told him that I was throwing a late Christmas party, dude. It was fucking end of January.
How old were you at the time?
Huh? Oh, this is 2.5 years ago. So I was 35. Bro, so he comes back to my apartment, right? He's fucking pissed. He unlocks the door. There's nobody in there.
Moving on to the next guest, it was Joey Diaz who made Joe Rogan laugh uncontrollably when discussing the time he farted on the school bus.
And while we were waiting there, my stomach started hurting. And I said, "Jesus Christ, I don't know if I'm gonna shit myself or fart, but let me just take a chance."
Good move.
And I blew this fart, Joe Rogan. That was so bad. Right? We were on a bus and people started running, you know, the school buses? People started running to the windows, right? To swing down the bus windows. But here's what gets better. I farted again. And the teachers were going, "Oh my God, he's changing flavors." But the worst thing was the cheerleaders were crying. That's how bad it smelled. They were sitting in front of the bus going,
Wait a minute. He's changing flavor.
One of the teachers yelled out, "Oh my God, he's changing flavors." That's how bad these farts were.
That's your next T-shirt.
The
Oh my
whole-
God, he's changing flavors.
The whole bus stunk. So I'll never forget looking at the cheerleaders and they were like, "Oh my God, we've never smelled like this before."
Well, it's safe to say I'm glad I wasn't on that bus. Next up is a story by Shane Gillis where he more or less pretended to have special needs during a football game.
I was gone. It was an all-day tailgate. I was at South Carolina versus Tennessee. SEC football. It's a night game in South Carolina. And I'm standing there, and there's just a tiny fence between me and the handicap section. And I just stepped over it. No one batted an eye, dude. I was standing there just for real. I was on the field. Dude. I left my friends. They were in the student section. I was just shit-faced walking around, and I was like, stepped in, and dude, people were like looking at me like, checks out. Fully checks out. I was just,
Yeah, if you just do that.
yeah. I mean, that's my face when I'm blacked out. I was just. People are like, this guy, he's by himself.
I'm just picturing you standing there.
Dude, swaying.
I'm just picturing you shit-faced and some guy doing a handicap check.
Yeah, it's just.
And what better way to close out the video than with one last story from the legend Theo Von, where he and Joe Rogan were having a discussion about birds when it suddenly took an unexpected turn.
Dude, we had owl 2 Thanksgivings ago. We had 2 owls at my sister's house.
Yeah, I saw one last night, actually.
Did you?
Yeah, it was pretty. No, not last night. Night before last. It was pretty fucking cool. Pulled into the driveway and an owl took off. It was big too.
It's gross, I think.
Owls?
The meat,
Oh, you ate them? You saying?
yeah, but the
You guys ate owls?
yeah.
I don't think that's legal. You probably shouldn't say that on the podcast.
Well, I didn't have a lot.
Bill Burr used to have a joke about it.
I didn't have a lot, man. I had no. I think I even spit it out. I'm not even joking.
It's like
yeah.
Bill Clinton when you smoked that weed.
And they had 2. They didn't have. Well, the thing, they don't have a lot of meat on them. I fucking don't like owls.